This vaccine is dependent man who get supposed to be what up in next like everyone, but that got tossed. Like, so the link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. So let's into this vaccine. 3, 2, 1.
A man carrying a baby sounds unbelievable, but this was real. The doctors could hardly believe what they were seeing as his pregnancy moved forward, each day more risky than the last.
Really?
It wasn't just a medical challenge. It was a fight for survival, for both him and the child growing inside. And when the moment of birth finally came, what happened shocked everyone in the room forever. Lawson was a quiet man in his late 30s, living in a small apartment in Chicago. He had always been meticulous, dedicated to his career, and surprisingly private. Yet his life had never been lonely. Alongside him was his partner, Miles Harrow, a clever, passionate man who had a spark of obsession in his eyes when it came to certain things. One of them
that looked like a such cute couple.
being having a child. Their story had started a few years ago in an office meeting. Lawson remembered it clearly. Miles had been late, flustered, carrying a stack of files, and somehow had spilled coffee all over the conference table. They had laughed together. That simple interaction had sparked a friendship, which eventually blossomed into a deep, unshakable bond. Over time, they had promised themselves they'd never live apart. They shared dreams, fears, and plans for a future that seemed perfect, except for one thing. Miles had a dream Lawson couldn't ignore. He wanted a child. Not adoption, not fostering. He wanted his own child, and he wanted Lawson to carry it. At first, Lawson had laughed. "I'm a man, Miles. Men don't get pregnant." But Miles didn't laugh. He had done his research, everything. He had read about experimental procedures, uterine transplants, and IVF treatments that could, theoretically, allow a male body to carry a child. It was risky, it was expensive, but it was possible. "You don't understand," Miles said one evening, his voice trembling. "I can't imagine a life without a child that's ours. You, me, our blood. I will make it happen, Lawson. I will pay for it. I will handle the whole procedure. Please, just say yes." Lawson shook his head. "It's too dangerous. My body, it's not built for this." But Miles had one last weapon, the ultimatum that broke Lawson's defenses. "Then maybe I don't love you enough. If you can't give me this, I'll find someone who will. I'll marry, I'll have a child, and you'll be gone from my life forever. Can you live knowing that, Lawson?" Lawson's eyes filled with tears. He felt his heart breaking at the thought of losing Miles. He whispered, choking on his words, I love you, Miles. I will do this. I'll do anything for you. But I can't live without you." Miles's eyes glistened with relief and joy as he pulled Lawson into an embrace. That night, the fear, the hesitation, and the danger were set aside. Lawson agreed to the uterine transplant and IVF treatment, fully aware of the risks. He would carry Miles's child, even if it might cost him his life. When they arrived at the hospital, the tension was thick. Doctors looked at them gravely. "This is uncharted territory," the lead physician said. "It is extremely risky and could be life-threatening. Complications are highly likely. You must understand the risks fully before we proceed." Lawson and Miles held hands, looking at each other, drawing courage from their shared determination. They listened carefully as the doctors explained every detail, every potential danger. Finally, they signed the consent forms, acknowledging that the hospital and doctors could not be held responsible. The procedure began. The uterine transplant was complicated. Every day brought pain, nausea, and extreme fatigue. But Lawson endured it. The IVF procedure followed, and the embryo was successfully implanted. Lawson was pregnant. Every day was a test. His body, never designed to nurture life, fought him at every step. Morning sickness lasted for weeks. Pain in his back and abdomen became unbearable. Doctors had him on strict medication and monitored him constantly. Miles stayed by his side, holding his hand through every sleepless night, whispering, "We're almost there. We'll get through this together." As the months passed, the pregnancy became more difficult.
Oh.
Lawson's body was failing him, struggling with the unnatural burden. He felt every kick, every movement of the baby like a mix of awe and terror.
Could be people.
There were nights he thought he couldn't endure another hour of pain, but Miles's voice kept him going. "It's our child, Lawson," Miles said one evening, tears glistening in his eyes. "You're giving me my dream. I love you so much. You're doing this for us." And yet, the doctors were worried. Blood pressure spikes, organ stress, and the high risk of preeclampsia haunted every appointment. "If we reach term," they said, "we may not get through delivery without complications."
Oh. Wow.
"You must be prepared for everything." Lawson nodded silently. He didn't speak. But deep down, fear gnawed at him. What if he survived the pregnancy, but didn't survive the birth? The day had finally arrived, the moment that had been months in the making. Lawson was carefully wheeled into the operating room, his hand clasped tightly by Miles. The bright lights reflected off the polished floors, but they did nothing to ease the storm of fear and anticipation that filled the room. Every heartbeat seemed louder than the last, echoing in the sterile silence. Miles leaned close, his voice trembling but steady, whispering, "You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. I'm right here, Lawson. We'll face this together. We always do." The surgeons moved with precise urgency. The monitors beeped steadily as the anesthesia took hold. Lawson squeezed Miles's hand, tears streaming down both their faces. There was hope, yes, but beneath it, a fragile fear that neither could ignore. Hours seemed to stretch into
Oh, could be. Oh.
days. Every cut, every stitch, every movement was a battle. And then a sound broke through the tension. A sharp, piercing cry. A baby. A living, breathing miracle. Miles' knees buckled and he clutched the tiny, wriggling child against his chest. His tears fell freely, unstoppable. "We did it. We actually did it," he whispered, voice choked with awe and grief. "Our child. We have our child." But the joy was brutally short-lived. Alarms began to wail. Red lights blinked. The monitors showed numbers that no one wanted to see. Lawson's blood pressure plummeted. His heart trembled
Oh, the nigga.
against its limits. Doctors shouted orders, their faces etched with urgency and fear. Miles leaned over, pressing his forehead against Lawson's, whispering desperately, "Stay with me. Please don't leave me. I need you. You're everything to me." Lawson's lips moved faintly, almost inaudibly. "Miles, I love you. So much. Don't forget." His voice faltered, fading like a candle in the wind. His eyes, once so full of life, grew distant as he clung to Miles one last time. Minutes, hours of frantic effort passed, but the body that had carried life against all odds could endure no more. And then, with a quiet stillness, Lawson exhaled his last breath. Miles screamed, a raw, gut-wrenching
Oh.
sound that echoed through the room. He clutched Lawson tightly, pressing the child close to his chest, feeling both the miracle of life and the crushing weight of loss. The room was filled with the cries of the newborn, but Miles could barely hear them over the roaring silence of his heartbreak. I love you, Lawson. I will never stop loving you," he whispered, tears soaking the baby's tiny head. "You gave me our dream, and I'll carry it always. But I can't believe you're gone." In that moment, Miles realized the full depth of what they had risked, what they had sacrificed. He had the child he had dreamed of, but he had lost the man he had lived for. And as he held
Yeah.
the baby close, he vowed to keep Lawson alive in every heartbeat, every smile,
That's
every
good.
memory, even as the echo of that final goodbye would haunt him forever. The
Oh.
doctors later explained to Miles, slowly, gently, the technical details he had been curious about, but had never wanted to dwell on until now. The IVF procedure had worked because Lawson's body was supplemented with hormones to mimic pregnancy conditions. Miles's sperm fertilized the embryo, which was then implanted in Lawson's transplanted uterus. Every risk, every step, had been carefully controlled, but the human body, when stretched beyond its natural limits, could only endure so much. Miles was left alone with their child, a fragile newborn who embodied both his love and his grief. Every coo, every tiny movement reminded him of Lawson. Miles wept, cradling the baby, his heart a mix of triumph and heartbreak. He had the child he had always dreamed of, but at the cost of the man he had loved most in the world.
Yeah.
The doctors had warned him. They had predicted that pushing the limits of human possibility could come at a terrible price. And now, Miles understood it fully. He had achieved his dream, but he was cursed to live with the loss every day. Miles often found himself staring at the baby, whispering stories of Lawson's kindness, bravery, and love. "Daddy loved you more than anything," he said softly.
Yeah.
"He gave you life, even when it nearly cost him everything." Even years later, the child grew healthy, happy, and curious about the world. But for Miles, the memory of that day, the miracle intertwined with tragedy, never faded. He had learned the harshest lesson of all.
Yeah.
Some dreams come true, but sometimes the price is more than the heart can bear.
Yeah, true.
Every decision, every sacrifice had led to this moment. And every night, Miles held the baby tight, feeling both joy and pain, haunted by the man who had carried their child and had paid the ultimate price for love.
Yeah, true.
Would you have agreed to risk your life for the one you love? Could you watch the person you adore give everything, only to lose them in the end?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. So I don't know. I'm torn between yes, I I I, I want to be be on the other end no. So yeah, I'm torn between yes and no. Yeah, I don't know what you know. That was the planning one. You get both be what up in next like everyone, but that goes toss. The link to the video will be the description below. Go and check them out. And drop a like if you like, and comment down below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new. And click the bell so you can be notified when I upload in my bye. Wow.